Hello and welcome to the Week 6 episode of Tossing the Pigskin. As always, I'm your host, Nate Smith. In the interest of saving time for our interview with special guest Eliav Gabai, we're just going to quickly recap Week 5 against the spread. It was a good week. We went 2-1, pushing the season total to 7-8 overall. The winners were Browns money line, Panthers money line. The lone loser was Seahawks -7. For Week 6, this upcoming week, my picks will be in the description below. Let's get to the interview. And with that, I'm joined by my friend, sports anchor and reporter over at News West 9 in Odessa, Texas, Eliav Gabai. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man. Good to see you, Nate, man. It's been way too long.
It has been a while. Me and Eliav go all the way back to the Cronkite School over at Arizona State. Both graduates of 2019 class, out in the world doing our thing now. All right, Eliav, we are going to talk a lot of football here, but first things first, I got to get your reaction, man. How good did it see to see your Lakers win that title, man?
Oh, my God. It was a whole nother level, man. Obviously, we're spoiled. It's only been 10 years compared to a lot of other franchises, but oh, my God, man. It felt amazing. I mean, for in a year full of darkness, man, this is really something that's beautiful. Beautiful, man. Yeah, I don't want to go too crazy because I don't have too much time, but it was awesome.
Can't argue with you. Good to see King James get his fourth. And with that, though, we are here to talk some football, as I mentioned, so we'll dive right into it. And the first topic I want to touch on is the tragic Dak Prescott injury, a dislocation and compound fracture of that ankle, obviously gone for the year. Timetable, they said, be about 4 to 6 months for his return, but comes at a very intriguing time due to the fact that he's playing on the franchise tag right now, making just over $31 million for this season. So I'll go ahead and ask you, what do you think the ramifications of this injury are going to be for Dak and the Cowboys?
So, first of all, before we get into them, when it comes to the franchise tag as a whole, I mean, we've always known the faults of the franchise tag, but this has really brought it to light, and now I'll connect it with the Cowboys because of the situation that you just mentioned, because of this interesting time right now when they've just gone through negotiations. Then they put him on the franchise tag. Obviously, the negotiations didn't work out, and they're about to go into a whole nother offseason of negotiations, and that's when this really hurts. And now this guy, who is obviously a franchise-level guy, is going to lose out on a lot of money. Regardless, they might still take care of him, which, you know, according to and I brought up the Des Bryant tweet where he said, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, y'all make sure y'all take care of Dak if he can't play again.
Yeah.
So that's number one. But even if, you know, thank God, hope to God he comes back, everything is at least close to what it was at the very least. Then hopefully they will take care of him, but it still won't be what it was gonna be, that's why it's just the big burn with the franchise tag. And it's tough. But as far as the Cowboys are concerned, I think Jerry Jones, well, I hope he really does take care of him, because he should. He was gonna be the franchise player, and he still, I think, could be.
Yeah, just the timing of this whole thing, me being a little bit biased as a Cowboys fan, just really sucks, because to me, and some people might argue with this, but first of all, I don't think you can argue that he's a top 10 quarterback right now. That's pretty much set in stone. Now, whether or not you want to say top 5, I understand some people have different arguments about that. I lean towards the fact that at the point of his injury, he was looking like top 5. Playing better ball than Deshaun Watson, playing better ball than Jared Goff, playing much better ball than Carson Wentz. Those are 3 guys that have already been taken care of long-term wise by their franchises. So just the fact that it got to this point is extremely frustrating and really unfair, considering Romo got a deal earlier than Dak did. Cowboys went out and paid Jalen Smith, paid Zeke, all before your franchise guy. Just not a great look. And, you know, he might end up getting franchise tagged for a second time, or could be swooped in by someone by the likes of, I don't know, Chicago or Indianapolis. So yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting, and but yeah, I think he'll get taken care of. Just the question is, I guess at this point, is will it be by the Cowboys? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have a few teams, and I want to see what you think sounds good to you.
Yeah, go for it.
I threw out the Panthers,
okay,
the Bears, maybe the Browns, maybe they're having enough of Baker. Connections aren't. He's finally seeming to have a connection with OBJ, which is great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think the Browns. I think they're lower on that list. But anyway, the Broncos.
Yeah.
Maybe the Colts. Rivers is an old guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Washington with Haskins, right?
No one knows what's going
Alex
on there.
Smith,
Yeah.
Alex Smith,
And
Haskins,
Kyle
right?
Allen. Yeah, that's not your guy. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. There's about 5 or 6 teams that would open up the checkbook right now, and I personally don't think the Cowboys will actually let him leave the building. I think that would be a literal historic blunder by them. So deep in my heart, I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, man, in the year of 2020, nothing is certain anymore. So.
I agree with you, though. I agree.
But the biggest thing is, with modern medicine and the way the injury played out, it seems like he'll be okay. That's what all the doctors are saying, which is a good sign, and that's obviously the most important thing. So, all right, unfortunately, we spent a little too much time on Dak, which I didn't think I could do, but gotta keep it tight on schedule here. Okay, I want to talk about your Rams, man, and specifically the NFC West, looking like it's either them or the AFC North for the best division of football right now. 2 real talented divisions. We're going to focus on the NFC West first. Rams are 4-1 and could easily be 5-0 with, I don't know if you want to call it a fluke loss to the Bills, but that 4th down PI call there on the goal line, that was unfortunate. But to you looking at the way Jared Goff's playing right now, the way Sean McVay's got this offense rolling, do you think this team can really go back to Super Bowl form?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to start with the positives first. All
Okay,
right,
okay.
I love how much better the O-line has been.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Goff has been awesome when he's had time. I'm still seeing mobility issues.
Yeah.
Was hoping for a bigger improvement from last year, to be honest. But the arm still looks great. Bobby Trees and Cooper Kupp, they're doing their thing. They're my guys. Tight ends, Higbee, Everett, they're consistent. They play their roles, which is most important for them in that offense. And then it's been a platoon effort from the backs. And McVay, I think McVay has proven that he's not a fluke coach either. I think that he can work with different rosters. But now, in general, if they make the playoffs, which they're playing great ball right now, I have no reason to believe they won't do that. Even though just the NFC West is just so tough, is the main reason.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't see them going past the first or second round, honestly.
Really?
I would love it. And I mean, I see like second round, but if they get past there, I'm all like riding the wave.
Of course. I mean, playing with house money at that point, I feel like.
And it's not even because the Rams aren't good enough specifically. It's because of how good those teams will be at that point,
Okay. So I was that's what I was gonna ask. So your main hang up then for them not going far in the NFC playoffs is just, I guess, speaking to the depth of the NFC as a whole?
Yeah. You could run into a plethora of
I mean,
of
yeah,
teams.
man, you bring up a good point. You're looking at the Packers. You're looking at potentially somebody like the Buccaneers. Even right in your own division, the Seahawks, who have yet to lose a game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's quite the gauntlet there. One thing I will say, though, is if somehow the NFC least is going to get a representative, so if you face them early on, it should maybe boost the confidence a little bit.
You never know how like you said, you never know how the cards break, so
right.
We'll see.
Yeah, you never know. Okay, let's move to that other dominant division, the AFC North, which I'm just going to read off some records here because it's hard to comprehend. Steelers, 4-0. Ravens, 4-1. Browns, 4-1. To you, who wins that division and why?
Okay, so I'm really an overthinker in general, so I'm not going to overthink this.
Okay.
Lamar's MVP. I think the Ravens have probably the most well-balanced team next to the Chiefs in the entire league. And I mean, he's the MVP for a reason. The squad is great. So I have Baltimore winning the AFC North, I think. I'm going to keep it real simple. I don't want to go too crazy because
that's fair.
Anything can happen. Obviously, I'm not going to disrespect the Steelers or the Browns, but I got Baltimore.
I think we can both agree, just given recent history, it's quite hard to trust the Browns for an entire season. So for me, it came down to it's between the Ravens and the Steelers, which historically has been the case. I get your argument for Baltimore, and I mean it could very well be them. Personally, I think it's actually the Steelers this year. I think when you're looking at both of those teams, both dominant on the defensive side of the ball, but a little bit of cause for concern for me is Lamar is not, in my opinion, in his MVP form like he was last year. His past 3 games, he's been under 200 yards passing, actually, which was very surprising for me to find out when I was looking over at his recent stats. Now, I do think that offense will continue to progress, and it's just the first month or so of the season. They'll continue to progress and likely end up being one of the more dominant forces as they usually are. But I just look at Pittsburgh, and Big Ben's arm is a concern coming off that elbow surgery. He looks like he's lost some juice in that arm, but I think Pittsburgh actually edges them, but it will be fun. I think week 16, 17, that last game that they play, that might be the decider. Okay.
Oh, that would be so
that would just be, you got to put that one on prime time.
That'd be a bloodbath.
That's got to be, they got to flex that to Sunday night if it's not already. Okay, last thing we're going to touch on here is who has been fired already, and then I want to get your take on who else you think is on the hot seat as far as NFL head coaches are concerned. So we talk about who's been fired. Most recently, Dan Quinn over in Atlanta, as well as their GM, Thomas Dimitroff. And then a couple weeks ago, obviously over in Houston, Bill O'Brien finally got the well-deserved boot. So we don't know who the third coach is going to be on the chopping block, but let me go ahead and open it up to you. Of the possible candidates, who are you looking at for maybe losing their job soon?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is Adam Gase. I think that's definitely the first person that comes to mind. And then, we were talking about it before we came on here. You mentioned Matt Patricia, and I didn't realize how long he was around. I gave him too much leeway, year three. So, and you brought up great points, and I agree with you. At the end of the day, that they've been regressing in every way, and even in the ways he was supposed to help them get better at, defensively and whatnot. So, he's there too. And then, we can toss in both New York teams just because, the standard of any New York franchise is a lot higher than what either is producing. But it's still early on for Judge, so we don't know yet. But so we'll see. We'll see about that one. But I think the first two that come to mind now are Adam Gase and Matt Patricia.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Those are my 1 and 2 as well. And like you mentioned, Joe Judge very well could be a one and done. I think the Giants are pretty close to having to hit that full-on reset button. So,
yeah, I will say it was tough for me to think of too many coaches. So, good on. I know that means there's a lot of also some new coaches in some places. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think we've taken a step forward as a league with a little bit of the level of coaches that we've got, because I think there's some solid ones out there right now. Yeah, especially considering these times with no off season. It's really been, all things considered, some pretty quality football so far in 2020. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining the show, Eliav. Hey, it was a pleasure. Yes, sir.
Got to get you on hopefully maybe sometime in the future. Once again, this was Eliav Gabay, sports anchor and reporter for News West 9. Thanks a lot, Eliav.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what you thought of the interview and maybe what you want to hear about for next week. We'll see you next time.